federal agents to remind the banks of that law, and of course they do if it makes them fresh. But the question is, legally, what constitutes information that may be relevant to a possible crime? Buying a muffin in Washington, D.C. on January 5th? Does it make you a potential domestic extremist? According to Bank of America, yes. Yes, it does. This is the moment when, for the sake of our country and our grandchildren who will live here, we need to pause and breathe deeply, searching for wisdom before we hysteria, and ask, what are the rules? What, for God's sakes, is a political extreme? A lot hangs on that question, maybe everything. Please tell us. But they won't tell us. Poignantly, they won't tell us. Today at the White House, for example, the new National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan, declares that domestic extremism is the urgent crisis of our time. Rooting out domestic political extremism is more important than anything else. Your job, running your business, tending to your family. But Sullivan did not, again, tellingly, explain what it is.
So Build Back Better isn't just about economics, it's about issues.
Really like this beat. Like a lot.
Set of issues that working families in this country are facing every
I think I'm about
day.
to
Their
download
children's
this.
livelihoods, the pandemic, climate change, the threat of domestic violence extremism.
Domestic violence extremism, there it is, the worst one. No sense of
Drop my
what
headphones,
that
guys.
means.
Very unprofessional of me.
Extremists believe they're not defining it for a reason. What's the other explanation? Yesterday, an op-ed in the New York Times asked this question. Are private messaging apps the next messaging app? Signal. A bunch of others. They're encrypted. No one can read it. The New York Times doesn't like this. Why? Because if they can't see what you're saying, maybe you shouldn't be allowed to say it. As the newspaper put it, quote, the shift to private messaging has renewed a debate over whether encryption is a double-edged sword. While the technology prevents people from being spied upon, it might also...
All right, guys. I'm going to be completely honest here. That was not completely intentional, but it's kind of awesome. So that stays. That's in there now. That's in there for the books, guys. Welcome back to the Truth Report with me, I, he, they. You can call me they if you want, or them. And I wouldn't even get offended. You can call me all kinds of shit. There's some stuff I might get offended about, but I don't know. But that doesn't matter right now. Let me take Carson's goofy head off here. Boop, boop. That's what I wanted. That's actually what should have been up there earlier. But you know what? It's for the books. It's fate. It's fate. Very unprofessional on the cord here. Fate, guys. Girls. Everybody. They. So, yeah, I want to go back and listen to that. That was a nice little mix. I'm not a massive Tucker Carlson fan. Although I can say, if you go on my Twitter, you could see that Tom Green got into it with me and accused me of, or he suggested that I go back and listen to some more Tucker Carlson or something like that. So, I mean, that beginning really fits his narrative, that's for sure. Tom was, he really wanted to get a vaccine. I just gave him some information. Said he might want to be careful, and he accused me of being a conspiracy theorist and loving Tucker Carlson. So there you go, Tom. That one's for you. Yeah, buddy. Try to get this check. I don't like this setup here. Get a little closer. I want to do a custom intro for you guys. So don't get used to that. Maybe though. We'll see. Boom. Not what I wanted at all. Dun 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 dun. If you haven't been over to the Truth Spasm Media website, I suggest you go over, click your way through, and tell us what you think here. Give us a little response back. And we're still in our beginning phase here, but we're building it up. We're doing our thing, and you know what? The way that we're doing it is it's honest. It's we're not we're the ads here. We don't have a bunch of ads. I'm not saying we'll never have ads, but I'm saying this isn't like some of the other stuff you see out there. I mean, everyone's bought and sold. They're all bought and sold, and that's the game. That's the name of the game. You just buy everyone up and get them to say the things that are okay for them to say, and to not say the things that they paid not to. We're gonna get through this thing. Getting really hype. I'm gonna have to get that song. I think that's our new intro. Nice. Ba-da-da-da-da. It is interesting. And I will give Tucker this. He does one thing right, in my opinion. And I can imagine this would be for virtually anyone who's fair and just wants to see the best of things emerge. Is that he asks us to define exactly what is being outlined here. And this happened after 9/11 as well. We had to make clear who was being watched and for what reason, and what the justifications were to infringe upon any of their constitutional rights to privacy, and at what point law is being set forth to attempt to make it okay to watch what everyone's doing. I gotta take Mitch's face. That's killing me. I thought it would be funny, and it is, but it's like, oh, jeez. Oh yeah, that's the next one. Welcome. Does anyone remember Tofurkey here? I remember when I first heard about it, I was, I want to say I was like 10 or something. Yeah, I was about 10 years old, I want to say. And I understood what it was. It was not meat, and it was made to be like it was meat so that people who are vegan could eat things that were like meat, but not meat. Yeah, I've grown up around vegans, and the stuff is pretty interesting as to how as humans we've been able to justify like hyper neurotic behavior that's driven by institutional propaganda to make people believe that this is all for the best and it's good for humanity. And I'm not implying that people shouldn't have a choice of whether they eat meat or not. By all means, people who don't want to eat meat, I would not want them to have to be forced to or not have the option. Never that. As I would never want to have my option of eating meat taken away from me. I think it's only fair, right? Yeah. Right. I haven't tried much of the other stuff because I haven't had much interest. The issue, I'm not going to pretend like I don't eat processed food like cookies and stuff like that because I like cookies. But this stuff is weird to me. It's always been kind of weird in a way that, again, if someone wants to eat it, is interested, it's fine. And I'm not saying I'll never eat any of it. But there's something about it that seems off to me, seems odd or wrong. And I'm sure there's some people out there who either know me or don't that might think like I'm some weird elitist for saying that or something, instead of a generally normal person who just doesn't feel like this is completely a great idea, and that it could go into like a very strange direction, and it has already. It's kind of funny with the soy boy stuff. It was just a joke at one point, and then there was soy boys who really ate too much soy, and they kind of defied what we thought would happen. We were like, oh, you'd have to consume like a ridiculous amount of soy in order to have like the side effects from that. I'm rambling now, but and it happened, and there were side effects were there, and there we go. That's what happened. Interesting. It is interesting, and one of those side effects being there was and I know I'll get lambasted someday for they're like that's not true, but it's true though, guys. Like it's true. These things did happen. We should not deny. Be like, oh, it's an outlier. Be like, yeah, maybe, but as time goes on, as patterns start to develop, if there's more than one outlier and they start to like multiply, or they start to be, oh shit, it's like not much of an outlier as much as it once was. So we have to consider those things if we're gonna pretend that we give a shit about science at all. Do 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 do. Boodum boodum. The Detroit News reporting on McDonald's quietly rolling out McPlant Burger in test markets in general population. I just found this to be another piece of the pattern in the pie that is normalizing the absolute illusion of meat being quietly rolled out of consumption. I don't know. Maybe that's hyperbolic. That might be hyperbolic. You can claim that, but you'd also have to understand all of the data and the information as far as what is actually going on in the way that the meat industry is being affected at a rapid rate. And I'm not just saying factory farms here, I'm saying all kinds of farms across the United States of America. And I'll go as far as to suggest possibly across the globe. The trial started in select locations in January, the Chicago-based company said Monday in response to questions from Bloomberg News. McPlant, which McDonald's co-developed with Beyond Meat Inc., is made from pea-based protein, according to McDonald's Danish and Swedish websites, revealing previously undisclosed details of the item's ingredients. Rice protein is a secondary protein ingredient, McDonald's said. So, a few things here to consider. And one of them is real baseline stuff like pea-based protein and rice protein. It is different than the protein from meats, so it's fair that we, from a nutritional science standpoint, that we actually acknowledge that, and that may make a difference in, not may, it does make a difference, and not only. Let's see, its essential use and how it's used. And I'll stop there because we will get into all kinds of nutritional science nerd stuff that I'll probably get ripped apart for at some point. So one thing is that I forgot what the other thing was. But anyways, we should acknowledge that the nutritional baseline is a bit different. And not only that it's being made to look a lot like meat. This is happening more and more. And it's a little, again, like, don't mean to be weirded out by so many things, but kind of like I was saying about the tofurkey and all those fake meats before, this is I still get some of the same feeling, which is like it's this I'll say this visceral feeling of like almost disgust. Um, and people could be like, Sean, you're just weirded out by too much stuff. Like you just something's wrong with you. Maybe. Maybe it's me. Restaurants are racing to add trendy plant based items to attract consumers who are concerned about the environment, dun, 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 animal welfare, and nutrition. While Burger King in the US market has seen success selling its Impossible Whopper, which is made by Beyond Meat's main competitor, sales often taper off after the bump in demand for diners trying item for the first time. I I don't have it on hand. I should have grabbed it so I had it available. I do have a comment from someone saying that there's a local burger. There's a local something that has Impossible Meat or would Beyond Meat or whatever that is, and they give the old meat to the old food to the animals, and they'll eat everything, but they will not touch the Beyond Meat stuff. Take that anecdote or whatever for what you may. Do. Lots of soy-based burgers. Soy burgers. Do. If you wanted to, I'm not suggesting you do. But I realized it as I was going through this stuff. I was like, oh, that like you could go right from the soy boy stuff that's being pushed in the U.S. to this next segment. It's not really a new segment, just saying that. It's just like it's a new topic. Getting into China, focusing on getting their boys to be stronger, to be more savage, you could say. And while the boys in the U.S. are being emasculated, and when I say that, I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking. I'm going to skip this and go right to this. This is from the Journal of Sexual Medicine, an official journal of the International Society for Sexual Medicine. There's no evidence that levels of testosterone in adolescent and young men is trending downward. Testosterone deficiency has a global prevalence of 10 to 40% among adult males and nearly 20% among adolescent and young adult men. Furthermore, serum total testosterone levels appear to be declining at the population level in the past few decades in adult men. Whether the TT levels decline in AYA men remains unclear. Well, that's just some information. I'm not saying anything definitive from that, only that information exists. And this is further information on China seeking to boost masculinity of students with more gym classes. Read off a little bit of this for you guys. A proposal to boost the masculinity of young students has been widely criticized in China, according to the Chinese Ministry of Education's proposal on preventing the feminization of male adolescents. Local governments will soon be required to increase the number of gym teachers and tweak gym classes so they can help cultivate masculinity of young students. Among the requirements, schools are being asked to scientifically arrange the exercise load of the physical education class and vigorously develop sports like football. According to the South China Morning Post, the Ministry of Education's plan, which was announced last week, aims to improve male students' mental and physical health while education officials conducted further research. It came in a response to a suggestion by a top political advisor named Si Zifu, who said that China needed to combat increasing feminization of young men, described by him as delicate, cowardly, and effeminate. So, as we can see, some nice clickbait down there. I always have an issue with these sites that have these clickbait everywhere. I'm like, gets ready for the money. Like, come on, guys, come on. I mean, I get it, but I don't at the same time. Brings us to our next topic. Apparently, there's a lot of hate going on. A lot of hate groups. This is from 2014, Southern Poverty Law Center. If you look over in the bottom right-hand corner, it tells you have 784 active hate groups across the United States. I can only imagine how much that's grown for everything that's being said to be being said. Active hate groups. You have the Ku Klux Klan with 72 groups. You have neo-Nazis with 142 groups. You have white nationalists with 115 groups. You have racist skinhead groups, 110. You have Christian identity groups. I've never heard of a Christian identity hate group before, and I'm not exactly sure what it is. Christian identity, 21. Neo-Confederate. That's an interesting name. I didn't know that was that was called that. Neo-Confederate, 37 groups. Black separatists. Well, a lot more than I would have suspected for 2014. 113. General hate groups. I see. This is what Tucker earlier. He's saying some good stuff, like to ask to define what this is. It's like, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're Tom Green. You can get accused of anything anytime, and if you fit the bill, like, see ya, I guess. I don't know. How's that work? How does that work? I know Tom's always getting into trouble, so it's always getting into hijinks. Yeah, so apparently there's lots of hate groups, at least in 2014. And there must be a lot more now if, what is being said is being said. Biden at prayer breakfast calls out political extremism. Well, Exhibit A. There we go. For so many in our nation in this dark, dark time, Biden told those watching the event. So where do we turn? Faith. Right. Senator Chris Coons, Democrat from Delaware, said the event is an inclusive and positive one that recognizes the teachings of Jesus, but is not limited to Christianity. It's interesting. The breakfast is moving forward at a time when the nation's capital is facing a series of historic crises. Biden is struggling to win significant support from congressional Republicans for a coronavirus response package, raising the likelihood that he will rely only on Democrats to pass the legislation. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to skip across some of this stuff for you guys. We don't need any unity with bigotry, Solomon said. I fear the subtext of this engagement is, can't we all get along? But that's not appropriate in this case given the well-known right-wing and anti-gay background of the event's sponsors. Whoa, I don't even know what they're talking about. Oh, the activist group, Roots Action. I see. Basically, there was some, possibly extreme activists, progressive activists that warned Biden, interest groups or activists, that warned Biden not to reach across the aisle to bigotry. Solomon said the Democratic presidents have continued a tradition of attending an event where their Republican counterparts often felt more comfortable because they'd feared being labeled as anti-religious or non-religious. He said that Biden, a devout Catholic who attends Mass every week, could better send a unifying message by skipping the event and instead attending one that is truly bipartisan. God knows these are many religious leaders in gatherings that are devout and affirm human equality, he said. This isn't one of them. Man, oh man. You just demonize everything. Everything is drama. Everything is drama. This is high school. You guys got sucked back into high school. Canada lists Proud Boys as a terrorist group alongside with ISIS and Al-Qaeda. So, so is that how we... I'm not saying Proud Boys are dangerous. I don't know any Proud Boys. I don't know, what the hell their plans are. But it seems like the Canada thinks that they're very dangerous. So it's interesting. Let's read a little bit. Based on their actions, each group meets the legal threshold for the criminal designation, Public Safety Canada said. And as it announced the move, the agency cited reasonable grounds to believe that an entity has knowingly participated in or facilitated a terrorist activity. Oh, okay. So they're labeling the January 6th thing was a terrorist attack. Is that what they're saying? I guess so. Acting be a half for association with such a terrorist entity. Interesting. The agency describes the Proud Boys as a neo-fascist organization that engages in political violence. Neo-fascist organization. Are they into fascism? Have they said that? If someone says they're a fascist, are you allowed to believe that they're not a fascist, and vice versa? I'm really curious now. This is going to go, at least this is theming with what we started with, that weird clip. But yeah, what's the designation here? How are we running these labels? Public Safety Canada also notes the group's prominent role in last month's attack in Washington on January 6, 2021. The Proud Boys played a pivotal role in the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. Leaders of the group planned their participation by setting out objectives, issuing instructions, and directing members during the insurrection. The terror designation means that Canadian banks and other financial institutions must freeze any assets connected to the groups, and it's illegal for anyone to knowingly do business with them. It's also a crime to give support to the group's behavior that could range from travel and training to recruitment, the government says. That's crazy. Well, don't be a proud boy. Jesus. So, I found this little website. Someone shared it. I'm going to go through this see if I can go through this real quick. What are we running at here? We're at 30 minutes here. Doing all right. It's a fun little site. Someone mapped out all this with sources, and so what I'll do is I'm gonna link you guys to these articles in the information section below, and like I'll link the website and some other links and stuff down there as well, relevant stuff to some of our guys and to some of our other sites and socials. But yeah, this is kind of interesting. I haven't clicked through all the sourcing yet, so you can do that, and I will do that as well. I haven't went through it, but it's pretty interesting little thing someone made up here. Kind of like it's almost like what would you say? Whoops. Like a spreadsheet. Rally plans. So I'm going to list this down for you. There's a court ruling. The Capitol protest was permitted a permitted event. Right. The permits were authorized for both protest rallies. Oh, nice. They have I like this. They have the dates that everyone submitted this information here, or that they submitted it. Whoever did this. Lawful rally permits. Entering the Capitol was planned prior to Trump's speech. Let's see. 2. Security irregularities. Police removed perimeter barriers for nonviolent protesters. Police opened doors to allow nonviolent protesters into Capitol building. And they have videos. There's videos linked to all these. Police waving nonviolent protesters onto Capitol grounds. And I believe I've seen quite a few of these reports and videos so far. But like I said, I'll go back and review them and see if there's anything I can, be critical of one way or the other. FBI DHS didn't do routine risk assessment for police prior to Capitol protests. DC police was given no intelligence about the plans to breach the Capitol. Capitol Police rejected National Guard and FBI manpower for protest. Capitol Police turning down help from other agencies was unusual. Events to honor slain officers have higher fencing and stronger security. Capitol Police Chief doesn't know why police let protesters into building. What a mess. To blame this, the people to be blamed here aren't just, I think there's a lot of people to blame for this event. I mean, a lot more than I'm seeing being reported, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong here. Events to honor Selena. So Capitol Police Chief doesn't know why police let protesters into building. 6 times the House and Senate security officials prevented National Guard backup. 500 Capitol Police deployed for protests despite knowing of plans to quote-unquote storm. National Guard delayed by DC's government's permits. Congressman claims the Capitol Police suggested Antifa would infiltrate protests. Agencies were not providing proper intelligence to law enforcement. Security showed tacit approval of the rioters, through their lack of response. FBI, Minneapolis, and guys, I don't know who made this site or anything like that, so don't. Uh, I mean, it is what it is. This is what people. It looks like there's evidence, and people reported this, so they're just trying to timeline it out. I have no. I really don't have a. I don't lean too much one way or the other on any of this stuff at the moment. Officers were told to stand down over the radio, protest, and police take friendly selfie. That's, I think, I heard about that, I didn't see it. Police hold door as protesters leave Capitol building in orderly fashion. Wow. Number of Capitol Police may not have been able to manage large, lawful crowd. Capitol Police began erecting their standard security fence on the 7th. Suspect circumstances. FBI visited some extremists to discourage their participation in the protest. FBI agents sworn affidavit about BLM rioters' involvement in Capitol break-in. BLM riot provocateur on the front lines of the Capitol break-in as CNN source. Is a CNN says, whoa, that's fucking crazy. Black clothed individual hands bats out to other black clothed individuals. Jeez Louise, that's a bit crazier than I had heard. New pop-up account with illegal behavior seemingly coordinating with routers. 2 known Antifa members posed as pro-Trump. According to police source, FBI puzzled how protesters easily found Pelosi's office after just several minutes. BLM rioter helps others to break in Capitol building with premeditated plan. Nonviolent protester intervenes as man in black tries to break into Capitol. BLM rioter organizes buses for BLM suppers in D.C. for protest. New York Times blames Gab user for Capitol protest without providing proof or sources. This just goes on and on. I'm not going to read off all this, but there's some unverified submissions. There's a lot of info in here. This is actually pretty well organized. So yeah, I'll put the link up there. It looks like there's some other stuff here too. The election, games about COVID. I didn't realize it had all that stuff. So take a look through it. There's a bunch more stuff.
Back open this morning after temporarily shutting down on Saturday.
Yeah, there was a mob that temporarily closed Dodger Stadium vaccination site. This was a few days ago. At first, when it was being reported, it was being reported like in a proud way, as far as the reporting was like, oh, they didn't shut down the vaccination site though. There was a protest, and then like 2 hours later, there was reports coming out that like vaccination site shut down. And I'm always keeping my eye on all the stuff and all the reports coming out. I've just been doing this for a long time, guys, and I do it in a way where I try not to worry about my source or anything too much aside from knowing the agenda, understanding my source, and then whatever information is inside and whether that information is true or not. And there's ways we can actually verify that. There's clearly a lack of ability to verify with a lot of journalists at this point, and I think what happened was we've had journalists that just assume because they're journalists that you're supposed to believe them and don't necessarily have the same type of respect for any type of natural law, empirical data, or anything like that. But apparently people are getting pretty pissy about the vaccine because they are protesting it. The virus. The virus. The virus. I thought this graphic was funny because everything it says on it says wash your hands, alcohol, sanitizer, do not touch your face, do not come in close contact with people who are suffering. It's like this is not that's how we were before. That's what we're supposed to be doing already. So I think we got it. I think we got it. I think we weren't doing these things before, and I think people are more careful and cautious. So we did it. I think good job, guys. Good job. But you know what's going on? I think I have that link for it. Oh yeah, that was a good segue. But we might have to mask forever. Really? You gonna mask forever? I've heard many people when I bring this up who are just like, nope. People aren't gonna do that. And when they say people, they mean themselves. Now you can double mask, triple mask according to Anthony Fauci. It's just fun, isn't it? It's funny at first. It was funny at first. It was still kind of funny, but I could laugh at least. Now it's a longer, deadlier pandemic. This is an endemic. This is being when you pose out to have a never-ending pandemic, it's an endemic. Just means this gets worse and worse. 4 to 5 years, but it may take 4 to 5 years before we finally see the end of the pandemic and the start of a post-COVID normal, Singapore's education minister said last week. But the next iteration, fueled by variants of the virus, is already taking hold. What's next? A British variant of the coronavirus will likely become the dominant strain within the U.S. pretty soon, experts say. It's significantly more contagious than the virus we've been dealing with so far, and some researchers believe it may also be about 30% more deadly. Is that so? That hurricane's coming, Michael Osterholm, an infectious disease expert at the University of Minnesota and Biden transition advisor, said Sunday on Meet the Press. A more contagious and more lethal strain of the virus could easily send cases, hospitalizations, and deaths soaring right back to record levels, even as vaccinations continue to ramp up. So, this is lockdown 2.0, 3.0. That's what this is. That's the case that's being made right here. So vaccinations and lockdowns. Now you get both. That's where we're at. I mean, I'm not predicting that we're definitely having lockdowns, but that's if that was more deadly than what they claim just came through, then why wouldn't they be trying to lock things down again? It only makes sense, doesn't it? I'm not saying we should lock down or not lock down. I'm just saying that seems like the logical conclusion that the people running things who locked things down the first time will come to as a conclusion. I might just repeated myself, but you get what I'm saying, I think. A more transmissible virus means with a greater share of the population, maybe as much as 85%, would have to get vaccinated in order to reach herd immunity. That'll be a stretch, given the widespread vaccine hesitancy across the country. Gee, I wonder why there's a hesitancy. Because vaccine production is still scaling up, getting things under control. I just want to make clear really quick that this being used, I might have said this before, and I'll probably say it again, that this treatment that's being called a vaccine is a new thing. Google did change the definition pretty quickly. Webster's did not. I believe, Oxford? I don't think they did right away either. I haven't checked in about a month or two. But yeah, this is a treatment for your immune system against that could be, or I don't know if it's aimed specifically at this virus or if it's just generally going to attack viruses. Which, hey, don't get me wrong, there's a cool idea behind this, but I mean, after Fauci told us that when Rand Paul asked how long it takes for a vaccine to go through trials, he said 7 years. After that, I was like, whoa, way too fast. And maybe I'm wrong. We're just trying to report some truth here. We're just trying to figure things out. The world faces around 4,000 COVID-19 variants as Britain explores mixed vaccine shots. World faces 4,000 variants of novel coronavirus. UK trials combining Pfizer and AstraZeneca vaccines. So they're trying to mix several different kinds of vaccines together for you. UK says vaccines likely to work on different variants. All drug makers looking to improve vaccines for new variants. I mean, this is how many times are we supposed to? Are people going to be expected to just keep pumping the stuff in them? And what's it going to do to us? The trial will examine the immune response of the initial dose of Pfizer vaccine. It's the weirdest. One of the weirdest responses I see happening is that if you start asking questions about the vaccine, people get defensive, and you get the feeling that they want to be like, shut the fuck up, like just take it. It's a fucking vaccine. You're too stupid to understand it. Just fucking take it. That type of thing, as that amplifies, it gets weirder, because I believe the ivory tower people truly think stuff like this, that people don't know what's good for them, and that they should just stop pretending that they have the ability to understand what these things are, as if there's only certain amounts of people who could ever understand these things, or this information. And again, it's one of these clickbaity sites. Canada Free Press. But apparently this did happen. The language in here is kind of funny. The whole thing's a bit clickbaity, but it is. I mean, I think it's kind of in alignment. Like, they're saying true things. It's just, yeah. Talking about the numbers with the death rates and stuff, and how things have COVID death hoax. I don't like when people call things hoaxes. It sounds so folksy, like I don't want to hear it. But apparently people aren't really too excited to understand some of the information that came out from the Hopkins study, because it essentially said that not as many people actually died of COVID than were reported. which, I mean, it kind of is no surprise since we saw the flu rate go down, or death rate go down, what, like 98%, which is super weird. Then a lot of other things that, like the death rate went down as well. So, I mean, that's going to happen. There's people saying, oh, well, people were inside, so they weren't. It's like they were dying of COVID mostly. It's like, well, no. I mean, I have personal anecdotes. Other people have anecdotes, but there's also like data that's being reported now and retracted by these institutions, and retracted because it looks like they're just not able to handle the pushback from the people who want to believe that things are this bad, that all these deaths are strictly from COVID-19. I'm not saying they definitely are or are not. I'm saying there's indication that points towards the fact that some of the data coming out might be a little bit more complicated and confusing than people initially put forth. Real quick, I wanted to go with you guys, and we're going on an hour here, so I'm going to go on to AOC's Twitter real quick and see what she's saying. She goes, this was 7 hours ago. Not only did I never make this claim, but I would never, ever do this. What Green is doing is pumping this lie to her insurrectionist base, is making them feel justified in further violence. The prospect of stripping her committees clearly isn't quelling her. She must be expelled. Dun, dun, dun. More high school drama bullshit. It's a distraction. It's a distraction. It's you looking at the mean girl, the mean pretty girls doing the thing. You ain't getting away with this. You aren't going to get away with this. Expel her. She's popular. AOC's popular. She's like Trump. She's the Trump of the left. She's a populist. Pop culture. It's weird that people like her because she's such a liar. And when I say she's a liar, I don't know how many people recall when she went to take pictures and pretended there was children in cages, and she posed in these weird, dramatic positions and poses. This fundraising appeal Marjorie Taylor Greene just sent is a lie. AOC never encouraged protesters to punch a cop. Now they're just going back and forth. It's like, I did not poop in the bathroom. That was not me. As I said earlier this week, my story of the attack on Capitol is not the only story, nor is it the central story. It's just one of hundreds. Listen, there's a deflection. Stop looking at me. Tonight we will start to hear more on the floor. All the colleagues who wish to share our special order. Special order? I invite all colleagues who wish to share to join our special order. Special order? What the fuck is she talking about? My special order. Oh, this is juicy. AOC says, last night, House Republicans gave a standing ovation to their GOP colleague, who then went on the floor today to equate journalistic media outlets with QAnon. These are the beliefs and actions they work to protect. It's also a predictable outcome of zero accountability for the sixth. Oh, Sarah Ferris said, wow, Green just described a media that is just as guilty as QAnon as presenting lies that divide us. Come on, like, I mean, oh, you guys are on the side of the media when it's, oh, I see how that works. It's mean girl bullshit. It's high school. Use the media like high school. This is like an episode of some lame ass show. It's actually pretty lit. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It is. It's interesting. Yeah. Hey, look at me. What do I want to check out here? Let's see what Nancy's saying. Even as vaccinations ramp up, we're still losing thousands to COVID. Hashtag COVID. Every day, and our economy continues to shrink. Republicans in Congress are the only people in our country who need convincing that America's working families are hanging by a thread and need relief right now. I'll tell you what, neither you or the Republicans I've seen, all your pockets are lined, seem to care about relief. All you care about is getting voted in to the same place or higher, or anywhere where you keep that steady flow of easy money coming in. Nancy Pelosi is 80 years old, by the way, everyone. There's a lot of like Q references in here, which is weird. She's like, it seems like she's obsessed with Q. Oh, she put a JFK speech. It's funny she put that one. Wonder if she'll ever put his speech to the press. Yeah, Nancy's hype. She's hype on everything going on. Just want to bring us back to, real quick, wrap it up here. Twitter suspends Mitch McConnell's campaign account after posting video of protesters threatening him. This was back in August 8th, 2019. Mitch is Mitch. Like, I'm not sure how much sympathy you have for Mitch, but it's not why I'm posting this. I'm posting this to let people know that this has been going on for a while, and some of these frames that we see over and over are like weird. It's like these people will go and harass you. No one knows if they're paid, if they're just doing this because they're schizophrenic or whatever, or just regular old angry Americans, frustrated. It's really hard to say. But one thing's for sure is that if you don't lean a certain way, that's the type of thing that will start happening to you. But that seems like it's changing, and now the dramatic behavior is coming from all sides. I mean, maybe that's why there's this call to get these organizations of people under control or whatever, I guess. It seems to me that freedom of speech is being threatened every day a bit more. Not only that, but everything that follows that as well. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm being hyperbolic. I don't feel like I am. Seems like there's a good chance things keep accelerating in this direction with the patterns that we've continued to see amplify over and over. And we'll continue to pay attention to all this stuff and more moving forward. We've got to be brave. We've got to be strong. We've got to be smart. Make the best decisions you can. Put forth your best foot and your best thoughts. Build your communities. Grow with one another. Build deep bonds, one by one. Keep going and never stop. Thanks for joining us again on the Truth Report, February 5th, 2021. 4th into the 5th. Take care, everyone.